There's what, 4 different types of narcissism?
I'd say probably closer to 6, but we can go with 4. Yeah.
What are the?
So 4, I would say grandiose, which is the traditional arrogant, pretentious, charming, charismatic, kind of shiny narcissist. That's your kind of prototype of the narcissist. There's the vulnerable narcissist. This is probably, to me, the most compelling form of narcissism, because this is where you see the sullenness, the petulance, the passive aggression, the chronic victimhood, the social anxiety, the failure to launch. These are people who live in fantasies of the great things they're going to do, but they never do them.
Wow.
The grandiose people actually often do get them done. They will talk the big game and they'll kind of do the big game.
So the vulnerable doesn't mean they're actually intimate and vulnerable with you.
No.
It means that they
themselves are vulnerable,
but they don't actually take action.
Correct. And they keep
telling everyone, I'm going to do this project or this thing.
And you know why I couldn't do it? Because that guy didn't give me the money, and that guy scammed me, and that everyone takes advantage of me, and that person stole my idea. That's that.
The vulnerable. Okay.
The vulnerable. Okay. Then there's the malignant. Now, to me, the malignant narcissist is the most severe form of narcissism. And that's when we talk about stuff like the dark tetrad. And the dark tetrad is composed of narcissism, psychopathy, Machiavellianism, the willingness to take advantage of other people, and sadism. And I also believe paranoia sits in there too, right? So in malignant narcissism, we're talking about people who are more coercive, who are more menacing, who are more isolating. This feels a little bit more like psychopathy, but it's still narcissism, and that's much more severe, okay? Then we have the communal narcissists. Communal. And these are the folks who so all narcissistic folks need validation. The communal narcissistic folks are interesting because they get their validation by being perceived as saviors, rescuers, and do-gooders.
Like cult leaders or more?
That's a severe... So a cult leader would be a communal malignant narcissist. That would be...
Okay.
So
wow,
these are like cocktails, right? These are like you move you put it all together.
Wow.
So at the extreme, a communal malignant narcissist, cult leader. But some communal narcissists could be a mother who does all the activities and the PTA and helps the little league and raises the money and goes to the galas and goes home and screams at her kids and is horrible and abuses her partner.
But on the surface, it looks like
they think she's a saint amongst us. It's the person who walks around and everyone thinks they're a humanitarian, and people are like, no, I worked for their nonprofit, and like it was absolutely a hellscape, right?
Yeah, when you look behind the curtain, you see...
Bingo. So that's the communal narcissist. So they get validation by the sense of, look what a good person they are. They're rescuing puppies and they're doing this thing and they're raising all this money and they're so good.
But behind the scenes, they're not.
So it's not saying if people who do nice things are communal narcissists.
Sure.
It's that they continue to have the lack of empathy, entitlement, all that other stuff.
So it's like you can... because I'm like, okay, well, I want to build a community and serve people. So how do you build a community? You've got a big audience.
Yeah.
Like, how do we build communities without that becoming a thing? Is it just because if you're not consistent with service all around you in your relationships, then you're more...
So, are you being mean to other people?
Got
so, like,
you.
if I was...
Public facing, you look like the best thing ever, but behind the scenes...
Exactly. So you're mean to your partner. You're mean to your family. You're mean to your people who work.
You're inconsistent.
You're consistent. You're consistently mean to the people who are behind the curtain. You're consistently sort of putting on a show in front of the curtain.
Yeah. But you're not consistent on both ways.
No. And that's
like
that's
service
what it
mindset.
Is. Yeah.
Okay.
Communal. And then there's the self-righteous narcissist. And the self-righteous narcissist is judgmental, moralistic, rigid. They're often funky with money. They will. This would be a kind of person who has so much money, and someone in their family has a hardship. They had a job loss, and then their kid needs medical care, and they'll say, "Well, I didn't create this situation, so I guess you'll have to figure it out."
They have no heart.
Like it feels like no heart, but there's also this really rigid, judgmental, and they judge people from the sense of, well, look at all I built. I guess I must have worked hard. They'll never account for their luck, right? Or sometimes their absence of bad luck, that kind of thing. They will say, if they say dinner's at 6 and you show up at 6:30 because your kid got sick, they'll say, I'm sorry, we already ate. So it feels very
cold.
Rigid, cold, moralistic, miserly, obsessive. These are people who are often workaholics and with little care for how it would affect anyone. It's like, there's workaholics out there who check in on other people, like, I'm going to make time for you.
Sure.
Or once we're taking a vacation when this is done, whatever. And they're communicating and people are aware, okay, they're doing this so we could buy the house or whatever.
So is it possible to be self-righteous and not be a narcissist in them?
I don't think you can ever be self-righteous and healthy, because I think if you're self-righteous, you're like, I'm better than you.
Ah, gotcha.
Right. So you'll even see self-righteous narcissism in some of these kinds of exercise zealots who are like, I wake up at 4 a.m. and then I milk my goat and I make a smoothie and then I do 1,000 crunches and run 10 million miles and then I work and then I journal and then I this and I sleep at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, is there no other human being in your life? Like, how do you deal with a crying sister? I tell her to go to hell and I drink more goat milk. I mean, it's that can be and the reason I'm in shape and I'm going to live to be 179 years old is because I do all this and you don't, you lazy, awful person. That's self-righteous.
Lacking compassion, lacking understanding,
It's lack
awareness.
of awareness of others. So that self-righteousness is sort of where the lack of empathy sits, right? So I don't think you can be I don't think there's good self-righteousness. I don't think all self-righteous people are narcissistic. But many people have said to me that self-righteous narcissism is really what happened in their family of origin. It was a parent. So there would almost be this unrealistic expectation that the child would adhere to rigid, obsessive rules like, don't touch this, don't do this, don't sit there, eat like this. And so the kid never got to be a kid.
Okay. Number 6?
And number 6 would be more of a neglectful narcissist. So these are the people who they view everyone as object. So coffee cup, whatever. And they just neglect them until they need them.
They just discard them. Or they just don't give them attention or energy, or
they don't have to give them attention. They don't attune to them. When a person around them is struggling, they won't care. It's
a lack of empathy.
It's a lack of empathy, but it's a lack of, like, for example, a malignant or a grandiose narcissist might actually get mad at someone. Like, oh my gosh, like, why do you keep talking to me? And people in relationships with neglectful narcissists will say, I'll take it, because at least that person was listening. But people in these relationships will literally feel like they're losing their minds because the person with them is literally not noticing them unless they need something from them.
Wow. So they're giving the cold shoulder. They don't speak to them for days, whatever it might be.
They just don't notice. They don't care. They won't know. Like, you might say, like, I have the biggest presentation of the year next week. They won't even ask.
Wow. It's all about them.
It's all about them, but in this weird way, and they don't even take notice of other people. So it is people, I've known clients in this experience, and they'll say, it's as though I didn't exist. But then when I had the piece of information or something they needed, I existed. So you feel like a really neglected personal assistant.